going to jump into Zoho Analytics. This session is on all of Zoho Analytics inside CRM Plus. So we will talk about sales analytics primarily. We're still going to show you support analytics and marketing analytics. And I'm going to also give you a preview of books analytics and recruit and people analytics so you can see what this product is all about. Don't worry, it won't be too crazy or too hard. I'm not going to go into the builder. The UI can be a bit intimidating for new users, but what you'll see here is, again, we'll focus on all the pre-built stuff. There's hundreds of pre-built new reports and analytics available in this product. So I really encourage you to start using it. If you're a CRM Plus or Zoho One user in this room, you already have the product. If you're not using it, open it up and let's get it going. Because you'll see that even if you don't know how to use any of the tools, you have lots and lots of free stuff in there, and I guarantee you'll find it helpful. It's a quick reminder, what's in CRM Plus? You have CRM and campaigns, desk, survey, projects, social, sales IQ, then you have Zia across the board. What we're going to focus on, again, sales, marketing, and support. So that's all of these apps. All of CRM Plus will be able to feed into analytics, and you'll be able to create awesome company-wide dashboards on your entire customer experience side of your company, all the way from lead gen to conversion to close deal to how you're supporting them, sending them surveys, their interaction with you on social media, et cetera. So before we dive into the nitty-gritty, let's take a look at what this product looks like. So I just want to show you some of the dashboards. So all you have to do, like I said, is just click and start Zoho Analytics. And if you go into the sales workspace, you'll have this dashboard. So it's going to take all of your data from accounts and deals and leads and all that and give you like six new dashboards to play with, right? We see some familiarity. We see these KPI widgets. We see some trend lines. Let's walk through this one. And instead of going into the how to build, it's what are you looking at? So we'll start there. Year-over-year growth. There's a very important metric. In Zoho Analytics, when you sync your sales data, the growth percentage is a brand new field that is auto-created for you. You don't have to do anything. There's already a growth percentage in there. So those of you who are looking for a growth percentage, you're not building it in CRM, it's pre-built in analytics, and you can change the date filters on there. Let's look at things like average deal size one or win rate percentage. Again, automatic calculation, win rate percentage is already in there. You also get loss rate percentage automatically. Again, you're not writing any formulas or functions. Loss rate, win rate are there as two brand new fields for you to drag and drop into the report. Let's scroll down a little bit lower than that. You see a threshold line. So if you want to set a target, you've got many more types of line charts. You've got many more types of visuals to take a look at. You've also got pivot tables. If you notice on this pivot table, what makes it kind of unique from the CRM, in CRM, we're limited to picking a single field across the top here, which in this case is the year, and a single field across the side, which is by quarter. In Zoho Analytics, we can go further and split in our pivot table and add more data points. We want to look at revenue and growth on the pivot table, not just revenue or just growth, which is what I'd be limited to on the CRM side. And again, pre-built. So if anyone wants to know their quarter-to-quarter growth in their company, just pop this open and it's going to tell you what it is. So now we see average deal size across quarters. The system is keeping track of close loss and close won deals. These dashboards are actually interactive. So when you build a legend or you build a what we call user filter on the dashboard itself, you don't have to do any editing of the component. It's just you can edit it on the fly. And we go down here a little bit lower. We can see sales percentage, win for all your salespeople, won deals, win rate percentage, loss rate percentage, their sales cycle, all that pre-made. And if you don't like this boring gray and white look of your table, you can customize the colors and fonts and make that a little bit nicer. That's one. We'll come back to more. The next one we're going to look at is what we're building towards. What you're building towards in your company is combining and blending data from all sorts of data sources. Not just Zoho CRM. I'm talking about Google Ads. I'm talking about Facebook, Twitter. If you're using third-party apps like MailChimp or Zendesk, whatever it is, what we want you to do is be able to pull all of it into a single place and create this awesome executive dashboard where you can just see what's going on in the entire company on a single page. And you can share this across your organization, or you can turn it into a slideshow and present it at the end of the quarter, end of the year, whatever it is. So we see here revenue being pulled where from? CRM. We're seeing expenses pulled from books. We now have revenue expenses, so we can calculate profit, which is more important than just knowing the sales rep's revenue. And we're getting CSAT scores from Zoho Desk, all side by side as KPIs. We go down here, we see a more advanced heat map. The heat map is so cool that on the fly, I can change the legend and just go up and down and eliminate things from there. I can even mess around with the color schemes, color themes as well. This is a new report we just added called the geo report. This system is able to recognize a new data type for geolocation, like city, state, zip code, region, territory. And what we can do is we can do a bubble chart across the world. We can do just totals. If I want to go down further, I can actually just highlight a section of the map, and it zooms in. If I want to drill down, I can drill down to the state level. So interactive dashboard all the way through. Going down below that, we see marketing data. We're going to see hiring and attrition data from people in Recruit. We see our marketing funnel. We can see Google ad click-through rates all the way down to CSAT and tickets. This is what you really want to see when you log in. You're not wanting to jump through 8, 10 different apps and pull up all these reports and dashboards and schedulers and all that stuff. This is what we're aiming towards. So what I'm going to do is try to give you at least a starting point on all the pre-built information, and you can work towards building an awesome blended workspace. It's really important to know what the difference is between a report and an analytic. Reports are about measuring what, right? So it's just to monitor your information, to organize it, to summarize it into those little groups. That's what reports is. So when you look at the other applications, you're generally doing this, just the reporting side. You can see now the applications have evolved to a point where you get some kind of mini analytics features. We saw in CRM, we've added a little bit of analytics in there with the KPI and the comparator. You've seen it in Desk with the agent dashboard, but it's still limited to how much flexibility you have, right? So it is more important now to analyze data because we want to know why it's happening. If sales are going down, if things are going bad, we want to know why it's happening. If things are going good, we tend not to worry about it. But either way, we should drill down and figure out why things are happening. And then this part, the application can't do now, but we're working towards the intelligence engine telling you what you can even do about it, giving you suggestions. Even in CRM, Zia will now give you suggestions as a manager, right? What am I supposed to tell my boss on why things are going bad? Like the dashboard is going to tell you that. So that's what we're working towards with Zia. But right now, if you drill down to a level, let's take a report. Let's say sales is kind of trending low, and we can see that for the last 12 months. I want to know certain months we dipped a lot, so I can drill down to that month. And then I want to drill down to the week. I'm still not getting enough insight. So I go back up, and then I drill down by salesperson. Still don't get enough insight. Then I drill down by product. Then I drill down by industry. And this is how you're getting why this is happening. And then you can ask yourself, what can I do? And that's your action. And that's really where you get value out of a product, is what the next step is. Analytics is all about action into the future. So you analyze the past, and you use that information to make a decision about the future. So that's why you see the word insights and analytics used kind of side by side, because it's all about interpreting what you're looking at and then building value by knowing what to do. Why choose Zoho Analytics? Well, as you saw in the previous dashboards, there's a lot more deeper customization. For those of us that just care like on the surface level about colors and the legend and the font and the scale and the X and Y axis, you can do all of that. Don't take your data into Excel. You know, AJ talked about exporting your data into Excel. Don't do that. Put it into Zoho Analytics, because you can play around with that same sort of stuff here. If you want to add a formula or a function, you can do that in Zoho Analytics. And just like before, if you don't know how to do formulas and functions, there's so many pre-built ones. If you edit them, you'll get a general idea of what's happening. Again, with the pre-built stuff, there's hundreds of new pre-built reports and dashboards for you to take advantage of. There's a really neat feature where Zia will help you build reports as well. So you don't have to go look for them or build them. You can query the data just through English, and Zia will convert it into a script where it can read and find the right data for you to look at. And then we'll end with the blended data section, and I'll show you the executive dashboard again and how you can use blended data across your company. So not going too much into the data science side of my head, keep it very simple. The back end of most of the Zoho products is just a bunch of tables. So all these, the word module or tab, that's been mentioned multiple times, like the leads tab or deals module, whatever it is. It's just a table, right? It even looks like a spreadsheet when you look at the view. On the back end is a table. Zoho Analytics takes all those tables and dumps them into what we call a workspace. Same in Desk. It takes all the tables for your tickets and your agents and your customer satisfaction and priority. It dumps it into a workspace, okay? I'm going to show you some samples of some unique reports so you know which ones to pick inside the sales analytics side, and then we'll go through a dashboard. Just a repeat of what I just said, all of those tables are accessible. These are the reports that we're going to look at, okay? So quarter over quarter, so dive into Zoho Analytics. I'm going to go into my CRM workspace. Again, you're going to have access to this. You see all the tables. It looks a little scary. Ignore all that. We're just going to look at some pre-built stuff, right? So you can simply just look in the Reports tab and do quarter over quarter. So let's say I want to look at quarter over quarter. Want to look at quarter over quarter revenue in a chart form. Oops. There we go. Grab that. So this is what we see, quarter over quarter comparison. I want to make some changes to this report. I'm going to show you how easy this is, right? So we see quarter over quarter comparison. Let's click Edit Design. How is this being built? So you have an x-axis and a y-axis, pretty simple to follow. On the x-axis, we have the closing date. On the y-axis, we have the amount. Now, what makes this product really, really powerful is where you can really go granular on the types of information on the axis itself. I'm not going to go into that. For those of you who are using a product like Excel, you'll see it's all the same different functions you're already aware of. Besides just in CRM, where you only get average or max or min, you can go a lot further into this. We'll leave that out for now. So let's say in this quarter, I want to actually break it down by sales rep. So I'm going to go to the owner of the potentials or the deals, and I'm going to drag it into the color section, okay? Watch what happens, right? So now it's broken down by the owner. Now our threshold line makes no sense. So what do we do with the threshold line? We're going to go into settings. We go to the threshold line, and let's bump that down, right? Because we're on the sales rep level, so the line is too high. We're looking at a company level. There you go. As simple as that. Now you have that same report broken down by color, right? That means the owner. I don't like the way this looks, so let's change it into a line chart. All right. So we see this line chart, and now we can go to filters. Let's talk about the filters. This is, again, familiar. So we just talked about CRM reports. You have closing date, and we have all the one deal. So that's all we're using as filters. Maybe I don't want to see all the sales reps, just the ones on my team. I'm going to grab owner. We'll just grab the first 5 people. Looks a little bit better, and I can see the data right here. So go into view mode, and this is my chart. I can now remove things on the fly. I can add that information back in here. Can go to edit design. If you remember on the dashboard, we had additional filters. You can add what's called user filters. So you can put this report onto your dashboard, but then still allow users to filter through their own name or on their own team or in this particular quarter and then change it to previous quarter. You don't have to make like 7, 8 different reports like you have to in CRM. It's all the same report, same dashboard, and you're just filtering it out live. Okay. Then we'll go back to view mode. You can share the report, you can embed it on a URL, you can embed it onto a slide or internally. We can make it into a link, so I can just share the link. The link can be public or private. I can also turn it into a slideshow. So if I have an entire dashboard just to show at a meeting, I can just turn the dashboard into a slideshow. Now I have to scroll up and down through it. So there's some neat features there that are easy to take advantage of. We also just added this section called alerts. And alerts are a way for your report to actually tell you information if something like drops below a certain value, right? So you're not having to scramble and run the report at the end of the day. If it dropped below a certain value or hit a certain criteria, you'll get an alert about it. So the report system is telling you when something's happening, and you get to program that yourself. I think that's a really, really cool feature in Zoho Analytics. So that was a quarter over quarter. We took a pre-made report, we added the color, and we changed, which broke it down by sales owner or deal owner, and then we changed it to a line graph. So how easy that was. Another unique report, deal count versus sales cycle. So again, these are all pre-made, so you can, if you have this synced up to your CRM, you can grab it. So notice it just opens the report side by side. I'm going to close this one out. I'm not going to save it. And here we go. So what's happening here? So I wanted to show you the age tier, right? So we're looking at sales cycle, which we can definitely see in the CRM, but we don't see it broken into 60-day intervals or increments. And so side by side, I can see close lost deals and close won deals. What can I get from this data? Well, I can see in a very short increment of time, we close a lot of deals. And then somehow in a really, really long increment of time, we also close a lot of deals, right? So then I'm going to go drill down, and I can view either just the underlying data, or I can start drilling down and figuring out why this pattern is happening in my organization. Let's look at a duration report. Let's pull this up, and I'm going to pull one more up as well. All right, so first one, sales duration for a winning deal. There's a brand new field on this report. It's called stage velocity. It's in green. What you see in the stage history section of the CRM is the number of days that particular deal remains in each stage. This report also runs that against the total amount of days the whole deal took to close. So it's how fast it took to close, right? Did it take a total of 10 days? Did it take a total of 15 days? That's stage velocity. We're running that against how many days per stage. How can we know what some of the pre-built cool new fields are? Well, we can go over here to the right, and as we scroll down, you'll notice a change in the icons. So we go from fields, and we go into all these cool pre-built formulas. Remember loss rate? You can see it right here. I can drag and drop it on there, and I don't have to do any calculation. For those of us that are interested in knowing what is going on in the formula, go to Edit Formula. If that looks really crazy to you, it's really just the module name and the field name from the module and a criteria after it. You don't have to know all of those details. Just know where it's coming from, because you can grab the field names and all of that just using the drop downs. Okay? So I was just saying, anything that's lost, we're pulling all of the potential IDs. I wanted to point that out as well. When you're looking at records, we save it on the back end as individual lines on a table, and each of those has an ID associated to it. So if you want to see a collection of all the records, you have to group all of the IDs together, or you have to get a count of all the IDs. So that's very important to note. That's kind of something different on the Zoho Analytics side, and you can see it multiplies by 100, divides it out, and so that's how you can learn all about the formulas. If you want to add your own, it's in the bottom left-hand side, and you can add your own formula. Okay, so another cool thing, so potentials, remember, is deals, or interchangeable words. You can even look at deals that only have a task and how many percentage of those deals only have tasks. That's a very unique report you can't do in the CRM. You can just do it with all the activities combined. How many of my deals and what percentage of them had activities? Which ones had lower activities and which ones had higher activities? These are important things in knowing how sales are being closed. I can, let's go back and flip reports. I can also look at a trend. I'm going to show you a neat feature in this. So pay attention to the x-axis there. It's a time-based. It's by month, right? Or if it was by week or by day. That's what I mean by being like a time-based scale. And then we're just looking at sales trend for 13 months. Again, this is already pre-built. I just want to see what's been going on the last year, including the current month. Watch how machine learning technology goes into play and builds a forecast for you off this report. We're going to go to this forecast in the settings. This is already there because it knows the x-axis has a time-based scale. Because of that, I can add a forecast, right? And then go ahead. Let's say last 6 months. We'll ignore the current month. We want to look at a dotted line. Apply. There it goes. It's forecasted the next 6 months for me. Okay? I'm going to do a view mode. You can see it a little bit bigger. Why does this help? Well, what if I'm in an organization and we're having trouble figuring out the sales target for the next 6 months? Well, this can be some good guidelines. Obviously, there's external factors, but based on just your data alone, at least it gives you an idea of what maybe the quota should be for the sales reps. And again, we can drill down further into that as well. Right? So that's how you do forecasting in Zoho Analytics, one of my favorite features. in the product itself. So I wanted to point that out specifically. And then another really cool chart, we looked at the map. So let's see how that's built as well. I'm going to get out of this screen and flip workspaces, go into our all-in-one workspace. And what I'm going to do is going to pull open deals by location here. So this is a map chart, right? So let's edit the design here. Remember what I was saying? There's a new data type that we've added called geolocation. So it's important to know that when you put a field into that, it's a data type of geolocation. When you do that, then only can you choose the map chart. If you have a custom field that you've created that you want to use as a geolocation, when you import that custom module into the CRM, make sure you go into the table and change the data type. It might think of that data as a text field, change it to a geo-type field, and then so when you come create the report, it already recognizes as a geo field. So you put that in there. Remember potential ID. The ID is really important. That's the lines of records in the system. So we want to get the count of records. We're looking at the count of IDs, right? That's an easy way to know how many records are on the table. And then here, we've got the amount on the color. Let's show you how to change these map reports real quick. I can change the type. Let's change it to a bubble. All right, simple as that. Go into view mode. I want to zoom in on Texas. So I click on grab area, highlight it, and we can zoom in. So this is also, again, a really cool report for those of you wanting to know where your leads are coming from, or where your deals are closing, or where your top customers are, which we use all the time. Take advantage of this. If you don't have an entire countrywide selling organization, that's fine. Break it down by state, break it down by city, break it down by region. You can even break it down by zip code. So this is a really, really cool chart to make sure you're able to take advantage of. So that takes us through some unique aspects of pre-built charts on the sales side. So let's go to the dashboard I showed you earlier, right? That was the closed revenue. Let's break it down a little bit. So let's look at year-over-year growth. So edit design, and then edit this KPI. You see it's similar to the CRM. You've got some different types of visualization. This particular one is going to show two values, right? A large value and a label with a small value. So we're looking at the one amount this year, right? Simple. And then down here, we can see the secondary value. That's that little number there. And then we can look at percent difference from. So then we go here, see how it's happening. So you have year-over-year growth, percent. The little value is showing us the total revenue, and we can see the percent difference from the previous year, and it's gone down. We can go down here. We kind of walked through this already, so what I'm going to do is just show you another dashboard, salesperson's performance, another pre-built dashboard. This one's showing the largest deal that we won and the smallest deal that we won. The largest deal that we lost, probably want to talk to David there, losing an $882,000 deal, and the smallest deal that we lost, $153,000. Right? So how do we look at that? Again, if you want to know where that data is coming from, you're trying to build your own dashboard, you can go to edit, right? Primary and secondary values here are just max and min, just as you saw, and we're looking at the one amount by the owner, right? Rosario and Augustine. So that's another pre-built report for you. You can see how all your sales reps did in a ranking format. Top 5, bottom 5. Again, things you couldn't do in the CRM. You can only see them all. You can't just say, I only want to look at the top 5 or the top 7 or the top 10. And this is another thing you can do inside the analytics piece. And that's all I'm going to show you right now on the sales side. We're going to jump over into Zoho Desk. I'm going to completely shift gears and pretend you're a support manager now. Or unless you are, then you don't have to pretend, obviously. You're just pretending to be a sales manager. So, support analytics. What am I looking at? Users, salespeople, now they're called agents. Tickets are where we do all of our work out of. That's our activities. How many tickets, a ticket inflow, ticket escalation, ticket satisfaction. Are tickets being responded on time? Are we in compliance? Are tickets being resolved? How many times are tickets moving between agents? Are they multi-touch? Are they single-touch tickets? So we're looking at resolution, and then we're also looking at the CSAT, which is your customer satisfaction. So instead of going into all those details this time, because we don't have all the time in the world, but we're going to flip to the support analytics. I'm just going to walk you through the dashboard. So let's go into Zoho Desk Analytics. So these are all, again, pre-made. So we can look at a help desk overview. We can look at customer analytics. So let's grab that one first. All right, so again, doing no work whatsoever, as long as we sync Zoho Desk, we can see if we have resolved our tickets, how many, versus the previous month or the previous year. We can look at where response is our good, is our response rate, are people happy? And then we can compare satisfaction against response rate. Do we see a pattern? Compare the first reply time against the satisfaction. Do we see a pattern? Compare the resolution time against the satisfaction. Do we see a pattern? Again, this is where you're building your insights and figuring out if customer satisfaction is dropping, where is it coming from? And just like before, you can always drill down different layers on all of these charts. Let's pull up another one. Agent performance dashboard. All right, so this one tells you how many tickets are single touch. So how were we able to just close it if it was assigned to a single person and done? Agent touches. So there's one metric where it's all about if a ticket was multi-touch. That means it passed along to different agents, right? So a multi-touch ticket, if 5 of us worked on it, it's 5 times. Agent touches means that it was transferred 4 times, right? So it's 5 times the ticket was touched, but it was transferred between people 4 times. That's an important metric. That's very different from how many times a ticket changed ownership, is how many times did the ticket change hands between people. And you need to know that because if tickets are being passed around all over the place, not the best customer satisfaction in the world. Well, or maybe, who knows, but that's what you use analytics for to figure out. And we look at our support team performance. Again, I won't go into all the details. You see some of these same reports in desk analytics as it is, but you are limited to the flexibility, such as the time range. If you want to pull like years worth of data, you'll have to push it into Zoho Desk to get that information, okay? So marketing is a big chunk. And we have marketing apps, campaigns, survey. We've talked about a bunch of others. People do a lot of marketing outside of Zoho. We're going to shift gears and actually we'll talk about Google Ads. We'll talk about Facebook, Twitter. I know everyone's using it to get their leads. And these are, again, they're pre-built. So when you're a marketer, you're looking at the reach of your campaign. Your campaign doesn't have to be in Zoho Campaigns. It is OK if you're using another email marketing service. We have lots of different integrations where you can pull this data into. We're really looking at who's responding to that campaign, the reach of that campaign, how many times it's being opened. You're looking at Zoho Survey, how many survey responses, and then the more important marketing metrics, cost per lead, cost per conversion, cost per impression, and of course, conversion. Jump around to some more dashboards. I'll spend just a little bit of time on campaigns. We'll look at the other ones as well. So again, campaigns has reports. But if you want to expand on the limits, for example, when you compare campaigns, there's a limit in Zoho Campaigns. I can't compare 20 different campaigns against each other, but I can over here. Okay, so if you're a power user, you're going to have a lot of things running at the same time, and you're going to have to expand on that, right? So here's a campaign conversion. We're looking at email sent, down to the unique opens and the higher engagement of unique clicks. So that's your kind of market engagement funnel. We see our top campaigns based on clicks or based on opens. And we see our locations. Again, I showed you can change that into a map chart, email status, etc., all the way down. Again, you guys can open this up and take a look at it if you're using Zoho Campaigns. I'm going to jump into the Google Ads one as well. And I'll show you some other apps that we integrate with. So while Google Ads does have an analytics piece, why would you want to pull it into Zoho Analytics? The real reason is that we're working towards is blended analytics. I have all of these reports. It's synced up. I can then blend this with my CRM workspace, and I can see the Google Ads versus CRM data. That's where it really adds value. And that's why we have this sync available. So when you blend data, look at all of the different sources that you're able to blend data into a single workspace. So it's not only just Zoho apps. You'll see lots of familiar logos on here. Even if it's just Excel files, you can grab them from there. If we go to Zoho apps here. So this is where if I had a CRM workspace, I could blend my campaigns data with the CRM data into one big workspace. So all of the tables are there to access. I'll look at one more, and then I'm going to show you another neat trick. So we'll go to Facebook. This is also pretty similar, right? So cost per impression, cost per click, things like that. So you see a bunch of different analytics available here too. So Facebook ads does have analytics of its own, but why would you pull it in here? Again, it's all about blending the data. So if you're interested in knowing how all the data looks and you just you don't have the ability to add enough data just yet, or you want to see what does it look like when there's a lot of cool stuff in there, you can go to the samples gallery. So without actually syncing your CRM today, look at the samples in the analytics and dashboards and just play around with demo data so you can really learn the app. You can see here, there's tons and tons of different workspaces, including Facebook and Twitter if you just want to see what they look like. Here's a blended one where you can see an entire e-commerce vertical blended all of the data together. And there's some fun ones here like the FIFA World Cup and the Olympics and things like that, how we've used Zoho Analytics to look at all of that data. So if you're bored by all the different business apps, we'll look at it in a different way. If you're a big soccer fan, look at the FIFA statistics and learn it from there instead. So that's another kind of hidden feature that I want to make sure that you're aware of, so you can learn this app a little easier. Blended analytics, I've mentioned this multiple times. We're going to group all the data together. We saw how to do that. You're in a workspace, you click add table, and you get this whole section of all the different integrations and Zoho apps and Excel files, wherever you want, and start blending them together. So let's look at a blended workspace that we made and show you how cool this application can be. We'll end at the executive dashboard, which is what we started with. Let's start with sales and support. Maybe I'm on the side of the company where I need to look at both these dashboards. Well, why not just put them all together? So I can look at like deals and revenue, but also against our satisfaction rate and our tickets and our resolution time, and see if there's any correlation between the support side and the sales side. And that's where we can kind of dive in. What if you're doing kind of like enterprise sales, you only work with large accounts? Well, how many times do these accounts reach us through support side? How many tickets, right? And how many times do they reach us through the sales side? How many repeat purchases versus how many tickets? Is there a correlation there? Right? Clearly between these guys, there might be. And we can look at it in different ways here. Deals win rate versus first reply time. That's a very unique statistic. So your win rate on the sales side versus your first reply time on the support side. So those are some cool things on the sales and support analytics. We'll look at another one. Go into this one. Blended here, marketing and support data. We can look at marketing spend, but we can also look at ticket count on the same side. So we blended, and you see in the right corner, Google Ads, Zoho CRM, and Zoho Desk all together into one. This is good for the entire customer experience side of your company. I want to know how much we're spending and how much we're making. So I'm going to scroll down here, and we can see our ROI funnel. That takes us all the way from the marketing side through sales all the way down to Zoho Books and how many invoices we have outstanding and closed, all the way down to that level. So that's where you can really see how company-wide, how much money we're spending, how much money we're closing, but then are we really collecting all that money? Hopefully it doesn't look like a funnel for you. This company is doing a really poor job collecting their invoice payments versus how much they're closing. Let's go now to the executive dashboard where we started. So we blend all of this together in conjunction with your employee data, right? And that's where we will end on the blended workspaces. So this is, again, what you want to build towards, and I've given you ways where you can take a look at samples. You don't have to know a lot of data science to learn this application. You saw how easy it was to edit the existing ones. We looked at some unique reports that are out of the box that you should just take a look at because you already have access to it in Zoho One and CRM Plus anyway. So just jump into it. And we saw how all of the data can be combined through multiple Zoho apps. So thank you.